time to take a TO with coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 2, Episode 17 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and as always, I'm joined by coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Our engineer is DJ Krissy, and we welcome you to Episode 17. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray is a friend of the program, and he is the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ray Cruz is Mortgage Intelligently. We'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week, some of us have taken the podcast on the road as Coach Turner Coach Turner, why don't you tell our listeners and viewer where you are? I said listeners and viewer, like we got one viewer. Our listeners and viewers, why don't you tell them where you are, sir?
First, we better not just have one viewer.
Right?
But I'm down in sunny MIA, down in Miami. Getting a little,
come on, Coach.
Little refresher, a little R&R, and little getaway with my wife.
All right. You know, Coach, here's the thing. I think you're setting a record. I think this might be the furthest we've ever brought anyone on screen from. You're 1,000 miles away, fella.
I definitely am. And it feels good to be, and it feels real good to be 1,000 miles away, but definitely excited to be back, of course, with you guys on Mental Health Monday, and excited for the guests that we got coming on to the show today.
All right, so you are virtually in the studio with us. We're going to get into this podcast, but first, Coach O'Neill, how was your weekend, sir?
I had a great weekend. It's good to be back with the fam. I'm happy for Coach Turner. If anybody needs a little R&R, it's that man right there. So while I'm a little jealous, I am proud that he's down there enjoying that time. My weekend was practice. You know, we're full go. Had our first early morning Saturday practice of this late season, which is one of my favorites. I love getting the guys up early, technically before the sun's really up, and we get after it on a weekend. Went to a bunch of soccer games for Miss Chloe. She had 3 soccer games this weekend. And we watched my man Cole on Sunday. Unfortunately, Clemson advanced to the championship of the ALC championship, and they lost to Liberty, but it was cool to watch them on ESPN+. We had some friends come by and watch it on our back porch. So, busy weekend.
Whatever. Talk to me about what's going to happen in a couple nights under the lights, sir. Don't fake.
Hey, Wednesday night, by the time this show airs, we'll know our fate. But I put my money on my guys. My guys have been practicing. They're hungry. It's been a week and a half since, our second game was canceled because the other team was supposed to play, had a little COVID shutdown for temporary. And our guys are ready. If we play like we practice tonight, look out.
Be careful. All right. So, DJ Krissy, how was the weekend? So, DJ Krissy and I are in the studio. DJ Krissy, how was the weekend?
The weekend was good. Not so much a fan of the weather that we had. It was
windy as hell,
a little blustery.
Right.
Had to batten down the hatches, so spent some time getting everything together so we didn't have, projectiles all over the place. Thinking about refrigerators, and man, I'm telling you, it's hard to find the right size.
All right, the right size refrigerator. We're looking for fridges. We're waiting for a call.
Waiting on a call.
We're going to find out some things. Last week, Joey T was our guest as he gave us some insight on the NFL draft. I've got to give him credit. He made some accurate predictions to include Sam Cosmi, offensive tackle of Texas, coming right here to Washington, D.C. And now we await what the remainder of the offseason brings. Listen or watch episode 16 with Joey T on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast content. This week, Joe Robertson, a senior attacker from Duke University Lacrosse, will join us in moments. Let's hit our first break, and we will be back with this week's headline. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program: Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe. Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to four of the fastest growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com. One Headline is brought to you by Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by their world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between their physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, they create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. For the young athlete, Healthy Baller is an excellent training and confidence builder. Paula and I personally know this as our children attend Healthy Baller twice each week. With Blair and Molly training our 12 and 10-year-olds, we can personally vouch for their expert training and dedication to each athlete. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com and tell them Curtis and Paula sent you.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. This week's headline, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers wants out. Coach Turner, what are you thinking?
I get it. I think we saw this a year ago when they drafted a quarterback. He was a little upset then. I think he probably is in a little bit of a pickle. I certainly would love to bring him to Washington. But all the people in Green Bay are saying the right things to us right now in terms of we want him back, we want him here. But for them to make a run with him, he needs a couple more pieces. And that's what I think he's expecting from them, and they're not going in that direction. I think they've been going in the direction of the potential rebuild for when he's done. And you see them going after defensive players just sew that part of their team up. I think it's a shame because I'm a big fan of him, and I think he's good enough to probably get them another ring. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes because it just keeps sounding more and more like he definitely wants out and wants no parts and is not excited or happy to be back there.
Well, it sounded like, didn't he give props to his wide receiver? And then shortly after that, did they trade the wide receiver? They brought on somebody else, or like that was the final straw almost. But Coach Krissy, what are you thinking?
So when you look at somebody like Aaron Rodgers, and I look at the guys that he kind of came up with throughout the NFL. So some of the icons like Drew Brees just retired. Tom Brady, who knows when he'll retire,
right.
but Tom Brady called the shots. He says, okay, New England doesn't want me back. I'll pick where I want to go. He sees another guy in like Phillip Rivers, who is around his age, right? That is kind of towards the end of his career, probably done. And then the guy that people forget about who just retired, who was in the same draft class as Alex Smith. So Aaron Rodgers, I think sees the next 2 or 3 years. He wants that championship and he wants it bad. And if he doesn't feel like it's going to happen in Green Bay or he's getting that respect, I don't like when guys leave. I mean, we talk about it all the time where we're just like, oh, they're just players play. But somebody like that who's been around, who's given a lot to that organization, I think he's looking around and seeing those other quarterbacks and sort of the way they're going and how this is shaping up. And damn right, he wants to find a way to win that Super Bowl or at least NFC Championship, at least in the next year or two somewhere.
All right, cool. Well, I don't know what's going to happen out there. I've never been a Green Bay fan because they've been good so long, and my Washington D.C. team hasn't been good enough. So anyone who's stopping us, well, right now it's ourselves. We're stopping ourselves, but we're getting there anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your one headline.
Gene the Barber has been in the business of making you look good for more than 20 years. Kids cuts, adult cuts, men and women, Gene has the experience and style you're looking for. Contact Gene the Barber for an appointment by calling him direct, 240-687-7253. Our producer uses Gene the Barber and he's available for your next barbershop visit as well. Call 240-687-7253 and tell him Turner and O'Neill sent you.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your style seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
The Starting Five is brought to you by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar or bat mitzvah, office party, Sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any virtual event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. The Starting Five. Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I'm your host, Kurtis Cross, and I'm with Coach Steve Turner, Coach Casey O'Neill, and of course, our engineer is none other than DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly Starting Five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions, and they each have 30 seconds to answer these questions. They can defer one question per starting 5. If they go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? You're doggone right it will. And guess
More
what?
fun for me.
We didn't tell you guys. My headphones have been peeling and cracking. We got new headphones this week. Me and Krissy. Casey, you didn't even notice. I mean, no love for. I got the new look. I got new headphones, man. Krissy got new headphones.
Really, you want me to compliment you after the first thing you said is how ugly I looked on the screen when we?
That was off camera. That was off camera. No one heard that, Coach Casey.
Yeah, well now I'm bringing that ish up right now. So
we need to have a family meeting. Do we need to have a family meeting?
We might on the street.
Okay.
Wonder badges need to unite right now.
Wonder Twin Powers. Is that what you're saying?
Wonder badges.
We can do a Roy Rogers walk off 10 paces, but I don't know if I want to mess with Kurtis in anything in that situation.
Coach Turner is 1,000 miles away. He can't save you. No, I'm sorry, Coach Casey. I did not mean to call you ugly. I take it back.
Okay. Apology accepted. All good. All right. Good.
We're going with our starting 5 here. I'm going to go with Coach Turner first since he's in Miami. Question number 1. You are a contestant on Jeopardy. What 6 categories would you do best in? Uh-oh, Coach Turner's frozen. Let's go with Coach Casey first. Coach Casey, you are a contestant on Jeopardy.
Can you repeat that, Coach?
All right, we're going to go Coach Casey first. You're a contestant on Jeopardy. What 6 categories would you do best in, Coach Casey O'Neill?
It's got to be number 1. It's got to be geography.
Okay.
Number 2, music.
Right.
3, some type of history.
Okay.
Any math questions or any conjumbling of words? No good. So that's 3.
Right.
I'd also do celebrities. That's 4. Sports teams 5 for sure. And then 6, I'd probably go with. Man, I don't know. That's a lot of them to go with.
You got dinged virtually.
But I would go with Aaron Rodgers as the host. Speaking of our, he's on the move. Look at him.
Coach Turner's on the move. He said, "I gotta get to better Wi-Fi."
He's like, "Let me go over here to the CS."
I'm in a dark area.
All right, no worries, Coach Turner. As long as you're with us, we good, baby. We good. All right, Coach Turner, here you are. You're a contestant on Jeopardy. What 6 categories would you do best in, Coach Turner?
Well, sports, of course.
Right.
Music. You said how many categories?
Right. 6.
6. Sports. Music. I think I'll be all right in history.
Okay.
Dang, let's go. Ding me up.
It hasn't been 30 seconds yet.
Thank you.
But just for everybody else. Peer pressure.
Wow. That's 3.
Oh, man.
He's done.
I don't know.
We
got the potpourri.
Number
movies,
4, WCAC history.
I mean, that's basic stuff. I'm talking a little more national, but movies.
Okay.
I don't know.
Geography.
Toss them up category. All right, we're coming back to Coach Turner. Pick the event you would like to have witnessed live. Hoyas win the NCAA title. Skins win the 83 Super Bowl over Miami. Nationals win the World Series, or Caps win the Stanley Cup. Which one would you have wanted to see live?
Skins, 83.
Skins, 83. Coach O'Neill, which one would you have wanted to see live in person? Hoyas win the NCAA title. Skins win Super Bowl 17, I think, in 83 over Miami, 27-17. Riggo, 4th and 1. It was Blue Chip was the play or something. I don't remember what it's called.
I know the play,
Nationals win the World Series, or Caps win the Stanley Cup.
Those I would have to agree with Steve, but I'm gonna go with a different answer.
Oh.
Washington Capitals winning Game 5 for the Stanley Cup in Vegas. I'm heading to the Bellagio or somewhere with Ovi and the rest of the boys. That is epic. And then we're flying back east with the Stanley Cup and continuing that party.
It just hit me. It was 4th and 1, and the play was called 70 Chip. That's what it was.
70 Chip.
Coming back to you, Casey O'Neill. If you were to pick a face to represent the sport you coach, who would it be?
Well, I like our guest tonight, Mr. Robertson, but I will go with I think Kyle Harrison. We had him as a guest. I think he's the face of that sport. And I know there's other people like Paul Rabel, and then there's other guys like Jim Brown, but I just think Kyle represents everything in the sport, and I love that he was a guest on Take It To You.
All right, Coach Turner, the face to represent the sport you coach.
He already does. MJ,
Mr. West?
come on.
Oh, I thought you meant Jerry West because he's the logo. I'm sorry.
No, man. West is the logo, but Mike Jordan is the GOAT, period. I don't care about all these young fellas who want to keep calling for LeBron and all that stuff. MJ is the face of basketball.
All right. Coming back to you, Coach Turner. Who do you choose to sing the national anthem in a championship game you coach? Anyone can sing it.
Sam Cooke.
Oh, my goodness. I wouldn't have thought that far back, but good call. Mr. O'Neill, who's singing it?
I'm going to go Beyonce.
You're going Darius Rucker, aren't you? Tell the truth.
I'm going Beyonce.
All right. You want to hear Beyonce do it. All right. Here we're going. Rapid fire fashion. Each of you get 5 different things, and let's see what your responses are. Coach Turner, one change you would make to your home.
Right now, definitely want to renovate my kitchen.
All right. Worst place to drive in the DMV?
Virginia.
A player in pro sports who you could do without. A player. It's got to be a current player.
Got to be. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Current player. Tied to Draymond's mouth. Love him as a player, but I just want him to shut up.
All right. Best Eddie Murphy movie.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I mean, you got Cops, Coming to America, all of them. Harlem Nights.
For me, it's Coming to America. There's a bunch of them. I can go a lot of ways, but I'm going to go with Coming to America.
All right. Your worst subject in school?
Science.
All right. Coach Casey O'Neill, we're coming your way. A good hoagie or a good burger?
Good hoagie.
Best backdrop in the DMV. If you were going to take your family anywhere in the DMV to take photos, what would be the backdrop?
I think it's got to be on the Capitol steps, but facing out to the mall behind you. You know, we got the Washington Monument and then the Lincoln Memorial. Love that.
Lips and all that stuff there.
Yeah.
All right. The player in pro sports who you could do without. I gave you the same one there.
Oh boy. I was thinking about it. I'm going to go NFL and Richard Sherman. Even I like him, but I'm with Steve. I like his game. Yep. Too much.
Yeah. Okay. A job you would not be good at.
Accountant. Oh, would not be a good accountant.
Don't trust him with the books, guys. All right. A movie that everyone has seen, but you have not.
Oh boy. I'm going to have to go with The Godfather.
Oh, you know what? Get him off my screen right now.
What? Case, you've never seen The Godfather?
I don't think I've sat through the entire God. I've seen Scarface and all the greatest, I've just never sat through The Godfather.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
Y'all going to be disappointed in me. I've never seen Sitting Bull. I've never seen Scarface. I've never seen Reservoir Dogs. I've never seen Dumb and Dumber. Like, Krissy, what have you not seen that everyone have you sat through The Godfather, Krissy?
Yes.
All right, what have you not seen that everyone else has seen? I've never seen any of those Marvel movies. Any of them. Godzilla or what? I don't even know if that's Marvel, but Plastic Man or Captain America.
Fantastic Four.
I've never seen any of the Marvel movies. I don't even know what they are. I don't know Marvel versus what's the other one? DC Comics.
DC Comics.
I don't know who Superman is, who Spider-Man is. Like, I don't know what side they're on. Like Dark Man, Green Man, the Green Lantern. I don't know any of that. Hulk. I don't know any of that stuff. I swear I don't.
Because you're sitting up watching too much NBA every single night. You
talk about NBA. I'm watching Charlotte versus Sacramento games no one wants to see, right? I'm watching I'm G League. I'm doing it all. But I'm sorry, Krissy, what have you not seen that everyone else has seen?
It's along the lines of Godfather, but I can't think of what the name of the movie is. But it's another mobster movie.
Casino?
No, I've seen Casino.
Goodfellas?
Yes.
She's never seen Goodfellas.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Have you seen Untouchables?
No.
What? Oh my goodness, Lord!
That's one of my favorites.
Right? Like, what are you prepared to do? She hasn't seen like Sean Connery, like Elliot Ness. Well, not Elliot Ness, but I can't say his name. Kevin Costner. Really? Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerando'neill.com.
Be sure to listen now at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Google Podcasts. Download the app and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You'll find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is a senior standout for the historically strong men's lacrosse program at Duke University. He's also an ACC academic honor roll student, playing in 20 games his freshman year, starting all 18 games his sophomore year, and then missing a season due to injury. And this, his senior year, Joe Robertson has been what I call Mr. Clutch, with 2 overtime goals to clinch victory for the Blue Devils. Ladies and gentlemen, taking a TO with us today, please welcome Mr. Joe Robertson. Joe, how's it going, Joe?
Hey, thank you for having me.
No problem. Joe, usually this is about sports, but I got to stop for a second. I just got a text and something from TMZ. Bill and Melinda Gates filed for divorce, and Bill Gates has no prenup. Joe, you'd have a prenup, right, if you had that much money? Wouldn't you?
I think so.
Right, there's no prenup. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, Joe, I think you know the gentleman on the screen, Casey O'Neill and Steve Turner. Gentlemen, please greet Joe.
Joe, listen, Coach O'Neill here. I appreciate you doing this, taking the time out of your busy schedule to take a TO with us. I know you're busy. You guys got a big week ahead, looking ahead to the NCAAs. But let me just tell the audience real quick how good this young man is. When I coached him in high school, in the Under Armour All-America games, you were one of the smartest lacrosse players in high school that I'd ever seen. And I only got him for like 2 or 3 weeks. So we got ourselves a winner right here, everybody.
Joe, Coach Turner here. Joe, this is Coach Turner here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on with us today. Had a blast being able to watch you play. I've also heard so many great things from Coach O'Neill about you, and we're excited to have you on here taking the TO with us today.
Awesome, thank you. I'm excited to be here too.
Joe, look, I'm going to be the first to admit that several months ago, I was a stranger to lacrosse. And of course, I knew the sport, but never having really watched it. Coach Casey made it something that I found myself watching. So I've watched the PLL, some Big Ten, but this year I was particularly in tune to ACC lacrosse. You had an outstanding year, and this is what I got to know. What triggers you to turn up your level of play and become Mr. Clutch? I've seen some overtime games, and they're not sudden death. They're sudden victory. I've learned that this year. So why are you the guy? You're the guy, Joe. Tell me what happens there.
I don't know. I think I got pretty lucky on a couple shots, honestly. I'm glad that they went, but if there's one thing that I've learned kind of playing throughout my time here, it's that, you know, at the end of the day, you'll regret not taking a shot more than taking a shot and missing it or having it saved. So I always just try to think about it that way and take my shot and try and take a good spot.
Sounds good to me. Well, it's working out, Joe. It's really working out because you got a DC guy watching lacrosse where I'm going to tell you 2 years ago, I couldn't even tell you who an attacker is versus the goal. I didn't know any of this. So, Joe, thanks for making me love the sport. Coach Krissy, what you got for this man?
Sure. I mean, Joe's he's being extremely humble in those situations. When you talk about, you know, playing with Michael Sowers, which I want to ask you about in a second, who had transferred in from Princeton, and playing with a freshman standout like Brennan O'Neill, and you got Nakai Montgomery, and you got just all these blue chip guys to play with, and yet you are consistent every year, whether it's, you know, 30 assists and 30 goals. You come off screens well. You got great vision. I mean, talk a little bit about, to the audience that aren't, you know, maybe like Kurtis, who are just learning more about the sport, how your kind of everyday approach is to put up those type of numbers.
Yeah, I think it's similar to any other sport, which is really cool. It's all about kind of a consistent work ethic in terms of figuring out things that you're not very well, like, finely tuned at, in terms of, you know, sometimes my shooting is a little bit off, so I'll spend the whole week putting in some extra hours on my shooting, my left hand, maybe my right hand, and just different aspects of the game. You know, I think once you get to this level, everyone's so good that you have to not only just go out and put in the work, but you have to be diligent about the work that you put in. You can't just go out there and take 100 shots and say, all right, that'll do. You have to go out there with a purpose. You have to go out there and with action, and actually do some of the things that help you succeed when you get on the field.
Sure. And Steve, before you, Coach Turner, ask the question, I just want to follow up. You know, what was it like for somebody like, you know, Sowers to come in? And I mean, because again, you have to find this like cohesion, and it's a new heartbeat and pulse every year. And then tack on COVID, right? All the rules and things you guys had to go through. How did you guys kind of, and a freshman in Brennan O'Neill, cohesively work together so quickly and kind of gelled for you guys to be one of the top 3 teams in the country and probably top 4, you know, bid into the NCAA tournaments in a week?
Yeah, it's been extremely fun playing with those guys. They make it really easy for me, which is nice.
Right.
And, you know, especially Mike, he's an unbelievable dodger, unbelievable feeder. And he makes it just really easy for any kind of off-ball guy or anyone who's looking to take a step-down shot. Brennan is obviously an unbelievable talent and is only getting started. I think the sky's the limit for that guy, and I'm really pumped to watch him play, continue to play throughout the next couple of years. And you know, I think as far as chemistry, with everything that happened, you know, I didn't even play a single minute this fall coming back from my ACL injury. And so really the first time that I got on the line with those guys was probably like February. Obviously we'd go out and we'd shoot together and we'd play, but probably January or late January, early February was like the first time that we actually got out there and kind of got to play together. And then unfortunately I missed the first 2 games of the season due to safety protocols here, kind of surrounding COVID-19, and so I didn't get to play with them to start the year either. So it's kind of this weird gelling that happened over time, and I think a lot of that's accredited to the extra hours that we put in outside of practice and you know, after practice or before practice. And but yeah, overall it's really fun to play with those guys. I mean, anytime you get to play with 2 highly skilled individuals like that, you're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna have a lot of success.
Nice.
Joe, Coach Turner here. Sounds to me like you're talking about iron sharpening iron. The 3 of you guys are really, really damn good. I can say it. It's my show. I'm damn good. And it's fun. And it's fun as hell to watch you. I'm a big fan of the sport. My youngest son plays lacrosse, and I've grown to really, really love the game. Take me back to your younger self. You know, I see a lot of guys, and I, you know, kind of use my own son as an example of the cross training. Were there other sports that you played growing up that you feel like have helped you in making you the player that you are today?
Absolutely. I think, when I was growing up, played just about, every sport that I could. Anything that I could get my hands on, I was playing. Also was, I'm fortunate I have 3 older brothers. They all played lacrosse. They all played football, basketball, baseball, everything. So I was always just kind of that younger kid, rolling around with his older brothers and trying to play up a level with everyone. So I think that kind of mentality has always given me a little bit of chip on my shoulder in terms of, wanting to be the best and wanting to prove people wrong and, playing against older talents and whatnot. But I think, a lot of what I played basketball up until kind of my freshman year of high school, played some travel and then played football my junior year. And I think a lot of things translate over. I think any advice for a young high school athlete or any athlete that's hasn't reached college yet would be to play as many sports as possible and have fun with it. Because, you might not be honing in on the exact specific skills of lacrosse, but you're definitely becoming a much better athlete. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think Krissy wants to jump in. What you got, Chris?
I do. So who's better, Joe? You have 3 brothers, but who's got the best shot or who is the better player?
Oh, she put him on the spot. Okay.
I've coached a couple of them. Sorry, just in the Under Armour games. Joe, you answer that.
Yeah, so my oldest brother is a goalie, or was a goalie, and then the 3 rest of us were all attackmen. So we got some really good practice time in, and always we're beating up on my older brother who was nice enough to let us shoot from about 10 yards in on him every single day, which is pretty brutal. But no, it's always been fun. I think if you look at each of us and how we play, obviously my brother being a goalie is a little bit different, but the rest of us, Ian is, I think, probably the most naturally skilled out of all of us. He was very athletic and had a really good sense of the game. Philip, I think, is probably the craftiest out of all of us. He's really good off ball, really good teammate in terms of just doing all the dirty work. And then I think I kind of bring a little bit of both into my game, as well as a couple cool shots that I've gotten kind of good at.
Joe, the sport has evolved. We're talking 20 years ago, the MLL or PLL were not even options. Now, however, the sport has mass media coverage. I think we're talking NBC Sports Universal and all that. What opportunities does this open up, in your opinion, for lacrosse and its continued growth beyond just, college or pickup or, club teams and all that?
It's huge. Yeah. I think the PLL is doing a great job. I'm a huge fan of them. And I love I love everything they're doing from the marketing to the broadcasting, to the actual games. And, I think it's really big to be able to have it on NBC Sports and reach such a broad level, of people, and to be able to kind of begin to accumulate some of these fan bases, especially, with, the younger generation, a lot of, younger kids who are really kind of, ride or die with some of these newer teams is really cool, and I think it's only going to help as they grow up and as the league grows itself.
Absolutely.
Joe, so I just want to go to coaching here in a second. First off, a shout out to your high school coach at St. Anne's Belfield, Coach Bo Perillo. Just a great man, and just loved your family to death, and speaks so highly of you all. But I want to talk about Coach Danowski. What's it like to play for? Look, he's one of my idols, and just because he does it, he doesn't follow the way everyone else does things in the social media and blah blah blah. He's old school. I think he's fair. He's tough, but he cares about his players. What's it like playing for Coach Danowski?
Yeah, you kind of hit it on the nail on the head. But he's old school. He's definitely very traditional in terms of teaching and holding each other accountable. Kind of, always pushing you when you may not even think it. He's very good at kind of, getting, not so much getting in your head, but pushing you to limits that you never thought you could before. And he's also just such a great role model. He's done so much for everyone on this team in terms of shaping them to be a better man, and not just a lacrosse player. And so I think it's really cool to just be coached by him, and to be coached by one of the, the greatest coach of all time is something that, it's you kind of take for granted. Sometimes you take a step back, you're like, wow, this is really cool. And, he's, maybe getting on my case a little bit because he wants me to be better. So kind of like taking all that in. But he's also, you never really know what you're going to get with him. He's kind of always changing things up, which is nice. He's very traditional, but he still keeps a lot of surprises around, and keeps practice fun and interesting, and definitely has a good time while he does everything while he's coaching.
Awesome.
Joe, 2-part question here. Who is your biggest role model, and what is the best advice that they gave you?
I'd say my biggest role model is probably my dad. He is someone that I've always looked up to. He's always just kind of pushed me to, be a better person and be a better player overall. And I think, one piece of advice that he continually tells me, and we talk about all the time, is just, take a deep breath in and feel your feet and realize that you're in the moment, and soak it all in, and just live in it. Because, I think from his perspective, seeing, and as well as mine, kind of seeing my older brothers go through college and playing their games and stuff, the games do end, the ball does stop. And so, at some point, you'll have wins, you'll have losses, but you got to take in the moment and just enjoy every second that you have. And so I think, my dad really pushes me to do that. And, he's got a great work ethic and has always kind of instilled that within me. And I think, that's something I definitely take away from him.
Joe, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the ball does stop at some point, and that leads me to my next question. It sounds like coach is preparing you for the rest of your life, not just for 4 years at Duke. What's next for Joe Robertson? What's on your horizon?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. So I actually have I have a 5th year that I'm going to take here at Duke next year, because I got my year back. I guess.
My man.
I technically, I'm never leaving college. No, yeah, I got it technically because I tore my ACL, so I got the year then. But then COVID happened, and everyone got a year back. So I think the cool thing about that is that I'll have a bunch of my other friends back for my 5th year as well. A bunch of the other guys in my class will be here, so it's not just going to be me and 1 or 2 other guys. It's going to be really fun. 5th year with your best friends, 5th year of college. It's just going to be awesome. So I think just kind of seeing where I go from there and where the wind takes me. But yeah, you can't really
Joe,
say too much right now.
You know what? I did a little research on you. I did not know you were coming back for a 5th year. That makes me super. Look, I'm calling you Mr. Clutch, so you got to come through next year too. I want to see some goals. I don't want to see overtime though. I want to see you guys run the table. But I've enjoyed watching you, so now I get to watch him some more. That's awesome, Coach O'Neal. What you got?
Well, enough about next year. Let's talk about right now. And this is my last question. We know you got homework to do, or you guys probably already done. You probably are tired. You want to get dinner, but let's talk about this year. And look, as a coaches, you guys have had a heck of a run. I know there's been a couple losses there. We're not going to go there right now. We want to talk about the future. And so next Sunday is Selection Sunday. You guys will find out where you are. You are a lock, in my opinion. I think Duke should be a 1 seed or a 2 seed. But how does the Blue Devils get to championship weekend? How do you guys get to that Final Four and then raise that trophy? What is the mindset for you guys right now?
The mindset is together, as corny as that sounds. I think if you go back and you watch any of our games, we have yet to put a complete game together, which is really scary in my opinion, but also really exciting, because I think we've had games where our defense has stepped up. We've had games where our offense has stepped up, and we've had games where neither of us have stepped up, and it's been maybe in the middle of the field. And so I think the emphasis for us is really going to be over these next 2 weeks. We've got, we don't play anyone this upcoming week. And then obviously won't know who will play until another week. And so we've got 2 weeks off, 2 weeks of practice. And I think, whether we're going to, how far we're going to go is going to be determined by these next 2 weeks. And I think there's a huge sense of urgency, especially after yesterday's loss. It definitely stings, and I think guys are hungry, and there's a lot of things that, a lot of kind of aspects of our team that we're trying to put together and kind of bridge that final gap and make this final push.
That's a great answer. I know Coach Turner's got one more question, but it almost feels like yesterday that you got to find the good in that loss yesterday, because you kind of tune up some things, and you mentioned playing a full 4 quarters, and heck, rather lose that one on a Sunday afternoon than on a Monday coming up and hopefully around Memorial Day. So you guys are done losing. Just keep winning, baby.
So Joe, and Joe, together is not corny. It's the same thing I say it out of every huddle that we have as a team. We come out with the word out of it with on 3 together. So trust me, that means a lot. It's good to hear that somebody else believes in that for their team and a little bit of their motto. My last another two-parter.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're losing Coach T.
Coach Turner, you there? He's down in Miami, Joe. You got to excuse him. He's under, he's out there by the beach getting that salt air going through. So, Joe, I'm going to make it a little fun right now because we lost Coach Turner. It looks like oh, you're back. Coach Turner, what you got?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm down here in Miami, Joe, so I'm enjoying a little R&R. So sorry about the Wi-Fi situation there. But my question for you was, who was the guy that you go against? Maybe now, it may be when you were growing up playing in high school or even in club ball, that has always been what you might call your nemesis, and who is it, and what is it that they bring, how they bring it, what is it about them that brings the best out of you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think down here. Sorry?
Or is it a team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 2 parts. I wouldn't say this guy's my nemesis, but he's someone that I've always loved to go against, and I think it's kind of this mentality that you always want to go against the best guys. So I think JT Giles Harris, senior defenseman on our team, he's the best defenseman in the country, hands down. And I think going against him whenever I can, one-on-ones or in practice, whether I win the battle or he wins the battle, or no one wins it. It's always just kind of this test that you can go that, I can say, hey, I just went up against the best defender in the country. If I can, get out with my feet, or if I can get a goal in here, if I can do this or do that against this guy, then I'm going to be just fine on Saturday or whenever we play. So, and then I think the second piece would be the biggest team that probably brings out the most to me is probably UVA. Just being from Virginia and not being recruited there definitely left a little kind of salty taste in my mouth. But things happen for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. So, but it's always just an extra sense of a little bit of chip on my shoulder when I play them, and so it's always really fun. But I look forward to that game every year.
Good stuff.
All right, Joe, we're going to wrap it up with this. We always like to have some fun. We have something here on the podcast called the Starting Five. This is where I ask our coaches 5 questions, and they have 30 seconds to answer each question. Now, I'm only going to ask you one, and you're going to get 30 seconds. If you go over the 30 seconds, DJ Krissy will sound the bell. So, Joe, here's your question. Our podcast crew is going to go to karaoke night. What song does Joe Robertson sing that's going to tear down the house? I mean, what song are you going to simply crush and get a standing ovation? What's that song for you, Joe?
Oh, you're asking me. My song, I'd say probably Sweet Caroline. I like that
you
one.
can do it, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That is a good one. Well, Joe, look, we thank you for joining us today on the podcast. Please tell our listeners how they can connect socially with Mr. Clutch, Joe Robertson, or the Duke program. How can they find you guys on Instagram and on social?
Yeah, I think mine's at Roj Robertson. So it's just the first letter of my first name and my last name switched around. So a little bit of a brain teaser for you guys if you can figure it out.
No Robertson, there you go. That is excellent. Look, you guys need to get out there and follow Duke Men's Lacrosse. They're doing some great things. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the TO with us today, I call him Mr. Clutch. He's a decorated senior coming back for one more year with the Duke Men's Lacrosse program, Mr. Joe Robertson. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Joe, thank you, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Thank you, young man. God bless you, buddy.
Wow. So, you know, we found out something here. I'm not going to say we broke the news, but he did say he's going to come back for a 5th year. That means, Coach O'Neill, I get to watch that guy play, make some more sudden victory overtime goal wins, and march towards another trophy. DJ Krissy, let's have a word from our sponsors.
Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Let's get social. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and then click subscribe.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by the Tamara Cusick team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people too. The Tamara Cusick team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick team isn't just a partner, they sold us the home where Take a TO broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamaraforhomes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301-780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Thanks for listening and watching as we enjoy meeting you here each week. Gentlemen, he's way too humble. He's way too humble. Your thoughts on Mr. Clutch, Joe Robertson. Coach O'Neill.
Look, it just makes you so proud when you see these young men. And we've had guests on our show, young men, young women, and just it makes me feel like, I know I'm not talking sports-wise, but how lucky our world is. And you look at kids like that who are level-headed, that work hard, that understand it, that understand what the coaches are saying. You know they're going to be great humans in life and working hard. I remember when him in high school and just, same type of kid, but just a little bit shorter, a little bit, not as thick in the neck and the shoulders. And now he's at Duke scoring overtime winners, playing with the best players in the world for one of the best coaches. And just what an awesome guest to have. Super, super proud of that young man.
Coach Turner, his mantra for the remainder of the season is your mantra as well, together. When you look at a young man like that, he played all the sports. You tend to find a way to ask the right questions. But all of these guys, they're playing all the sports, So what did you get from Joe Robertson besides he's going to be a 5th-year senior?
Well, you said it right off the break, his ability just to be so humble. Like, he's just a regular guy. And I think he just throws his cape on when he gets out there on the lacrosse field. But it's just special to see and just to hear from these young men and women that we bring onto the podcast, and just good to hear about their journey and the people who are influences in their lives. To have his biggest mentor to be his father, and the things that his father is telling him about just living the moment, staying in the moment, and being the best version of you can be in. And as a dad myself, and as you guys are as well, Casey and Kurtis. Of course, DJ Krissy not a dad, but we all want so much for our own children, and we try to give them tools to be able to allow them to be the best version of themselves they can be. Listening to Joe talk, obviously he has been taught well. He's probably been beat up and bruised a little bit by those older brothers, but it's allowed him to become the young man that he is today. And it's exciting to hear him speak and be so humble. And then I'm excited to watch him over the next couple of weeks and see what kind of run he makes. And like he told us, he's back for another year. So we're going to get to see Mr. Clutch do it a little bit more.
Well, I hope he stays healthy. That's what we want for all of these young people that play these sports at a high level. Our guests are on the show. We get to watch them. Look, here's what I'm getting out of this, honestly, more than anything else. Besides his 5th year, we're going to be able to see him because lacrosse is emerging in such popularity that be it the Big Ten Network, the ACC Network. Hopefully we're going to get some games. Coach O'Neill, you might be able to speak to this. When they get into the tournament, where are most of those games going to air so I know where to watch?
Yeah, so usually it's on ESPNU. The U will cover the playing games, the quarterfinals, definitely the semifinals on ESPNU. And a lot of times, sometimes the Final Four is on ESPN2 and or the major one, ESPN. So the U definitely covers it, and there's nothing like that first weekend. So we're talking 2 weeks from now because of a few conference tournaments we'll talk about. But there's nothing like those opening games. I mean, it is Saturday, Sunday. You've got 4 games of lacrosse starting at at noon, and they go all the way until nighttime, and the same thing happens Sunday. It is a lacrosse dream if you just sit there and put on the U all day long that opening weekend. And Duke's going to be one of those top 3 seeds, top 3 or 4 easily. And it just depends on who they get.
How many teams make that tournament?
So they normally have it used to be 12. They bumped it up to 16, and now there's about 4 more teams that get in, I believe, and they have 2 play-in games. So the 2 play-in games will have to go, and then usually what they do is the higher seeds will host that first round.
Sure.
And then you go to the quarterfinals, and the semis are in locations like Navy Stadium or up at Hofstra, and it's fun. We have fun with the bracket too. Coach Turner and I put a bracket. We're definitely going to do a bracket this year. I just wish those Ivy League teams were able to play in it this season. Just stinks.
All right. So look, thanks to Joe Robertson for being one of our guests. Thanks, Coach O'Neill. You mentioned him. You said you were going to get him on the show, and I think he did not disappoint. We're coming right back with our weekly sports wrap-up. DJ Krissy, let's do it. O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by Insurance Alliance Group. Manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill. My name is Kurtis Cross, and of course, this week's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. They are mortgages intelligently. Now for our weekly sports wrap-up. Gentlemen, the NFL draft. Any thoughts on who did well, who did not, and what you got out of the 2021 draft?
Coach T, go ahead, man.
I'll say this. I was happy with our picks here or back in Washington. A couple surprises with some guys who didn't get picked up early, and interesting to see what's going on with all the picks of the quarterbacks, because that was such the talk going ahead earlier. I mean, I look at a guy like Mac Jones, who I'm a fan of. I think he found a good home as compared to where we thought he was originally going to go. I think that's the part that's going to be interesting to see. I think he's one of the quarterbacks of all these young guys that's going to get a shot potentially to be a rookie who plays in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see if that happens for him. And again, with the Skins, I thought we did a much better job than I've seen us do in the past with our picks. So that made me happy.
Coach O'Neill.
Well, look, pat on the back to Joey T. Obviously, it's impossible to pick these mock drafts and to be precise. But I think he had a lot of incredible nuggets and words of wisdom on how that draft was going to go. That's the first time I've been juiced up for an NFL draft. And maybe it's because we're all coming out of COVID. We're getting there. It's getting closer. But there was just the excitement about it. And a lot of it had to do with recording last week, right? I'm like, it's just a draft. Like maybe outside of the first round, who cares? But man, it's just neat to see, people getting excited about it. To tell you what team I think did better than the others, it's just hard to say. I think Jacksonville is very interesting that they took Trevor Lawrence one, but then they took that running back, Travis Etienne, who's the ACC all-time leader. They picked him up in another round, which is pretty interesting. We'll see how it shapes up, but I think NFL did a good job. It was cool to see. What were they in Cleveland? Everybody in Cleveland, everyone was excited. So kudos to the NFL for getting it done.
I'll say one more thing about it that I did notice too, in case you alluded to it with Etienne and Lawrence. A lot of guys got back together.
Joe Burrow got his LSU wide receiver.
A lot of quarterbacks got the receivers that they played with in college coming to them. So some of that's going to be interesting to see as well as you go further into the next few years.
And one of my favorite things too, sorry to interrupt, is when they show those coaches, and now the technology is incredible. So those coaches pick up their phones in the office and somehow they have a recording of that young man with his family and telling them that conversation, hey, we're picking you next in the next 2 minutes. And you see that young man break down and his parents are, got their arm around him. I mean, literally changing somebody's life for the better over one phone call right there. And then they're saying hey, I'm going to Washington or I'm going to Philadelphia. And it's just a exuberance of those families. So love that about the draft.
Well, I'm compelled to say something and respond to that. As much as I hate to admit it, the best calls that I've heard like that are coming from Jerry Jones. He'll call and he'll say, hey, John Smith or blah, blah, blah. It's Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. In a couple minutes, son, we're going to make you a Cowboy. How'd you like to be a Cowboy? And as much as I don't like the Cowboys, those are like the best calls because he's got that country voice. He's like, we're going to make you a Dallas Cowboy. You sound just like we're going to make you a Dallas Cowboy. Yeah. Anyway, look, we spoke with Joe Robinson.
Then I'm gonna hold you in place and hold your money. I'm not going to pay you the way you deserve to be paid.
Oh, now here you go.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Shots fired, baby. Shots fired.
All right. We spoke with Mr. Robinson earlier. Again, I call him Mr. Clutch. The ACC and Big Ten are in postseason play. Coach O'Neill, bring us up to speed on the NCAA lacrosse team.
So
lacrosse
ACC, they are not having the conference tournament. Carolina with that win over Duke yesterday is co-champions. There's going to be Duke, Carolina, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Virginia. I mean, pretty much all 5 of those ACC teams are getting at-large bids. I mean, they're all that good, and so they're all going to go in. Big Ten is rocking and rolling. Got to give a shout out. So Rutgers is going to play Hopkins in the semifinals. Hopkins, their starting goalie, is a Gonzaga Eagle, Mr. Tim Marcial. Won his first game in the quarters over Penn State last weekend. So he's leading the Blue Jays. Maybe there's a little resurgence. Maybe they can get to the championship game. Other side of that, you got Michigan and Maryland. Got a couple other Eagles up there, in Ann Arbor. But Maryland is a freight train coming for everybody. The Patriot League's getting going with their tournament, and a few other conference championships are going to decide maybe who gets that bid, who gets those last at-large bids for the NCAA selection show coming out this coming Sunday. So it's coming down to the wire. I'm telling you what, it's going to be fun.
And I can't believe I didn't know you a year ago, and you're going to have me watching this tournament, aren't you?
You got to watch the Big Ten, and then there'll be some other ones. Patriot League will, they'll probably be on the CBS Sports Network this weekend. So You'll have them all over. But I just love following our guys. We're even kids who are in D3 or D2. I mean, we're giving shout outs on Twitter to, kids from Colorado College and kids from, down at Roanoke and all over the place. And we're excited.
All right, good. Let's get into some NBA talk. The Lakers keep spiraling the wrong way. LeBron came back. The chemistry is not there. They've lost. They're 0-2 with LeBron back. He's not going to play tonight against the Nuggets. Any thoughts?
It takes a little time, man. It's tough with what these guys are going through. LeBron's going to be LeBron when it matters. When the money's on the line, LeBron's going to be LeBron, and so is AD. The Lakers will be there. The only thing I was a little upset with LeBron and the whole thing about the, fire this guy for the whole tournament deal. Shit, it was that when you won the championship. Right. There was a tournament playing. What made it any different now, other than the fact that if you guys keep spiraling, you're gonna be in the playing game. Don't be that guy.
Okay.
But I think you're seeing with all these teams, it's going to be important to be healthy when we do get to the playoffs. I think you flip it to the other side, and I like the matchup yesterday with the Bucks and the Nets. I think the Nets definitely can make that hard run if Harden's healthy and the three of them together. They do need, like Curtis, you've alluded to a lot. Those three need some more time together. But I'm watching them, and something that has always been said about two of the guys there is a little bit of their selfishness and thoughts that they want to be the only guy. I'm watching those two guys play a lot better team ball right now, and I think if the three of them together put that together when it matters the most, they're still my favorite in the East. It's going to be a fun series to see all around. I'm just waiting for the matchups. I'm having fun watching the Joker do what he's doing, and we've talked about it on the show before. CP3, man, reinvented, doing the things he does and bringing that team together. He's having a special year. To me, I know there's some other guys that we can all talk about, and everybody can have their favorites for MVP, but those two are my two leaders, CP3 and the Joker. I love what those two of them are doing this year.
I'm looking at the Joker's game more because I'm hearing people talk more and more about the Joker and how he may deserve to be MVP. But here's what I go back to. He's not top 5 in any category, and he's barely top 10 in one or two categories. So what am I missing, Coach? Talk to me.
His ability to make other guys better around him, his ability to score when he has to, his skill set at a position that is kind of becoming ancient.
Right.
And that's pretty special to me because he has a skill set of a guard forward, but he's really still truly a center. And when you see a guy doing what he's doing at his size, and to me, it's special. I mean, we could go back over the last 2 years and a lot of people will say LeBron should have been the MVP over the Greek Freak. It's all in the opinion of what you like and what you see. And for me, the Joker is just special in terms of his talent at that size and his ability to score at will and his ability to make other guys around him better.
All right. Well, we all know the Knicks and Wizards are surprising folks. They're like 9 out of the last 10. The Wizards have won, or 8 out of the last 10. But talk to me about Russell Westbrook, this annual stat crushing binge. It's like when he turns it on, it's a triple-double every night. And people say, oh, LeBron can drop 50 every night. They really don't mean that, but I really mean it when I say Russell Westbrook is a triple-double whenever he wants it. And I'm talking stats like in the first half, he's already at 16, 7, and 8, or 16, 7, and 6. Like, he just turns it on, and are we forgetting about him? I mean, he missed some time too.
Right. I mean, what a joy to watch. I mean, what's the stat? He's like 4 or 6 more triple doubles away from breaking the NBA all-time triple-double.
All-time record, yeah.
All time. So he's getting to that point, and it's unbelievable. And what I love about it, so it's the rebounds. Sister, he's a point guard. He can score. We know he can get to the rim. Right. It's those rebounds with those jokers that are 6'10", 7 feet, and it's that hustle factor in everything he's doing. It's a pleasure to watch. Look, John Wall was here. He and for whatever reason, Bradley Beal didn't really mesh. And maybe they did a little bit. But you're seeing everybody kind of get theirs with this team right now. They're kind of healthy. And they're making a run. It might be too little, too late, but Russell Westbrook, I think, was worth every one of that in that trade.
So here we go. The Wizards have already scored 82 points in the half. It's 82-66 over Indiana right now. They're at halftime, and Westbrook's at 8, 12, and 14. That's what I'm talking about.
It's insane.
One more bucket, and he has his triple double. First bucket he scores, he's got his triple double.
The crazy part of it is, you have to be hustling hard to do that all the time and that consistent. But he does.
This is late in the season.
But the part, Casey, is when you watch him play, he does. It looks so effortless,
right?
I know.
Like it just happens. I mean, as I said, when we got him and he came to DC, I knew he'd be a guy that it sucks right now with COVID, but there would be butts in the seats downtown. And
every few games, he's going to start from the top of the key and he's going down the middle and he's flushing it dirty on somebody, right?
Yes,
definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
I love his athleticism and all that. Let's go rapid fire fashion. Gentlemen, is anyone better than DeGrom at less than half a run ERA? He's like at 0.49, I think.
Not right now. I'd say the closest in his prime and still grinding out is Scherzer, but DeGrom is at a different level.
Should Justin Fields start for the Bears?
I think he will. I don't think that's even going to be a question. Well, they signed what's the name to a 1 year, $10 million. He's there he got that money to be a guy to help him get through understanding the system, getting familiar with the NFL game, and I definitely think he's going to be the one playing.
All right. A lot of college pairings are reunited, as you alluded to, Coach Turner. Joe Burrow threw to Chase at LSU. Lawrence is back with ETN. Tua played with Waddle at Alabama, and Jalen Hurts played with Smith at Alabama. Are we seeing something? The Skins did that, right? Didn't one of our wide receivers, McLaurin, maybe?
Well, yeah. Terry McLaurin is Ohio State Buckeye, but they also Curtis Samuel, who just came in from Carolina in a free agency. Those two had played together, I believe, for the Buckeyes as well. Okay. But I mean,
we're seeing a trend.
Washington, the trend, what they called Alabama Wall, with that front line there with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, and they got guys like Landon Collins and Reuben Fott, like all these other Alabama players. But I don't know if it's a trend. It just shows you that the big boys are putting out the talent, the Clemsons, the Alabamas, the LSUs and the Floridas like that. But hey, kudos to some of those smaller schools that you see kids getting drafted. And I think kind of that Russell Westbrook effect, they're going to outwork and out hustle everybody and make a name for themselves in the NFL.
All right. Is Trevor Lawrence the real deal?
Soon to find out.
I think so.
All right. You know what? Chelsea said this. I'm going to give Chelsea this limelight right here. She said he better learn how to slide because he doesn't know how to slide. And them guys are coming for you different in the NFL.
It's a little different.
What you got, Coach Turner?
No, I just think for him, it's, they're not going to be in the mix early. it's gonna be a building process around him. But I think he's a hell of a quarterback. Excited to see what his future brings, and I hope with some of the stuff that got on him late about some of the things he said, I hope he can just shut all that up by just being able to be who he's been as a college player in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. All right, good. DJ Krissy. That wraps this up. Let's hear from our advertisers. We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness.
The final word is brought to you by...
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by
Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back, and now it's time for our final words, some thanks, and of course our weekly quote this week offered by Coach Steve Turner. We invite you to become a friend of the program. To do so, go to www.turnerandoneal.com and click Become a Friend. We are now seeking advertisers for Season 3. In Season 1, we delivered more than 100,000 viewers and listeners to our advertisers. Now is the time to secure your placement in front of our audience each week. Become a partner, sponsor, or donor today for as little as $25 per episode. Advertising opportunities include on-air commercials, social media inclusion, YouTube exposure, and more. Our advertising spots will sell out, so secure your placement for Season 3 now with no payment due until July. We make it easy. Reserve your spot now with no payment until this summer. Connect with us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and on Twitter at Turn On Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel subscribe to our YouTube channel and via all podcast platforms to get the episode drop alerts. That means each episode we release, you'll get the ding to your device and you'll be among the first to know when new episodes are available. We encourage you to join the conversation, so write to us with your questions and comments at turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. Before we sign off, many thanks to our listeners and viewers. Thanks to Joe Robertson for joining us. We want you to spread the word, so do us a favor and hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend, and we ask that you help us grow our community. I must thank our engineer, DJ Krissy, you two gentlemen, Coach Turner and Coach O'Neill, and of course, Paula. Thanks to our donors, sponsors, and partners. We encourage our audience to support those who support us. Krissy, any final thoughts?
As always, I appreciate our Mental Health Monday.
Good.
It's not quite the same with you guys not here in studio with us, but it's good to see your smiling faces.
So I'm boring. So you're tired of looking at my ugly mug. That's what I'm hearing.
I didn't say that. He said that. I didn't say that.
She needs some better looking guys in the studio. Okay, I get it, Krissy. Thank you.
I didn't say that either. But Steve, kind of excited that you got your trip in.
Much needed, and thank you. It's losing an anniversary to COVID and not having traveled. I guess my last travel was California with my team with the last season. And so be able to come down here and spend a few days with people that I feel great friends, my best friend, Leo, and his family. So getting away and having an opportunity to be here and spend some time with them is I can't really give you any words to describe it, but I'm happy and I'm blessed to have this opportunity.
Coach O'Neill, any final thoughts?
A lot of fun. It's great to see everybody. One thing we say to young campers at our camp, youth camp, which we're going to have this summer again, is we tell them to pick a player, right? Pick their favorite player to watch, not only on the field or when they're at practice, but the things they do off the field or how their body language is in timeouts. Well, the young man we had on today is the perfect person for young people trying to build their game in lacrosse to watch, is Mr. Joe Robertson. So all those young folks out there, go to a Duke game or watch him on TV, he's the guy you want to emulate. Great episode.
So my final thoughts are, thank you, Coach O'Neill, for bringing Mr. Joe Robertson on the show. Super excited that he's going to play a 5th year. Steve, glad you're down there. Over the years, I've appreciated you more as a friend. And it's, I think I said on the episode several episodes ago, I think, one of the things about growing up is to be happy for someone else's happiness. So glad you're down there. You do have an anniversary coming up again this month. I remember I was there. And so Coach O'Neill, thanks for bringing Mr. Robertson on. Krissy, thank you for being our esteemed engineer. When you guys see this every week, it's DJ Krissy who does the editing. So we thank her for that. Coach Steve Turner, this is your quote. We've never had a quote from out of town before, out of the state.
South Beach.
It's a lot. It's a lot of firsts. It's always good to have some first.
So give it to us, Coach Turner.
It's always good to have first. First, before I give the quote, one, I can't wait to get back in the studio with you guys next week. As you guys know, man, Mondays is what I look forward to. It would have been simple to say, you know what, I'll holler at y'all in a couple of weeks. But nah, I had to be here with y'all tonight because
I tried to get you to do that, but you're like, nah,
can't do it, man. This is Mental Health Monday with the crew, and I love being with you guys. And I'm glad that we figured out technology to make it work so we could all be together. But go into the quote. This comes from Mr. Muhammad Ali, the GOAT. And it's about impossible. And I think in our world, there's been so much going on that we think is the impossible. And I think his words here speak what impossible should really mean. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing.
I love it. DJ Krissy, you know what? We've never done it from Miami. Someone else needs to do it. If you're in Miami, give Krissy the instructions, please.
DJ Krissy, pull the plug.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is produced by Curtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turnero'neillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner and O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.